Hi and welcome to today's episode, which is all about taking what we learned from the Assassin spaghetti and applying it to noodles. I made Assassin spaghetti a few weeks ago, which in Italian is spaghetti all'assassina. You might also know it as spaghetti bruciati. It's spaghetti that's cooked in a frying pan instead of doing it in a pot of boiling water. It's cooked risotto style, which means you put it in a frying pan and then add in water a little bit at a time, or liquid I should say. Since making the spaghetti, I've been thinking, what else can I do with that? And I thought, it'd be interesting to see if I can do it with noodles and do kind of an Asian flavoured type of thing. The idea's been bubbling away in my subconscious for a couple of weeks now, and I've finally settled on doing like teriyaki kind of flavours. I fried off some mushrooms and did this earlier in the day just so I could have everything kind of ready to roll. I heated up oil in the cast iron pan and then cleaned off some mushrooms on paper towel and then just tore them apart with my hands. Fried them off with a bit of salt and pepper. Once they started releasing all of their liquids, I then added in about a teaspoon of beef flavoured stock, just to boost up that kind of meaty flavour. So they're ready to go. I'll leave them aside. Once the noodles are done, I'll then add them back in just to heat them through again. These are the noodles I'm going to use. These are buckwheat noodles. You get them from the Chinese supermarket. They come in these bunches. You might also see them as soba noodles. Hopefully this will work. It might be a complete disaster, and you'll never know because you'll never see this video. But cast iron pan heating with some oil, just sunflower oil. It's just enough to fully submerge the bottom of the pan. And then in this saucepan, I've got 20 grams of the dried onion pieces, 2 tablespoons of Henderson's relish, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 100 mils of mirin, then there's 150 mils of soy sauce, a teaspoon of MSG. If you don't have the onion pieces, feel free to just dice an onion and fry it while you do the mushrooms. The way to do it will be to fry off the onions, then add in the mushrooms and do all your bits of seasoning, and then take everything out of the pan and then do the noodles. I've worn long sleeves this time because my arms are still covered. I don't know if you're going to be able to see these there. I'm still covered in scars from doing the spaghetti because when I put the garlic in, it just spattered up all of my arm, and because I was rolling film, I couldn't soak my arm to cold water. Got to suffer for your art and all that. So yeah, definitely wear long sleeves. I've got about a tablespoon of grated ginger, fresh ginger, and 3 garlic cloves that I've minced up. I'm going to get those in the bowl. Once there's a bit of colour, I'm going to ladle in some of the broth. So I've got like 2 ladles of broth. I'm going to slide the noodles in. Just making a bit of space in between the strands of the pan. But these are instantly softening, which is a great sign. When you're adding the ginger and garlic, pull it off the stove, off the burner, and then add it that way. I'm really glad I wore long sleeves because it's everywhere. These soba noodles are made with buckwheat flour, which means they're naturally gluten-free. So if you're gluten-free yourself, or if you've got any friends who are gluten-free, this is a dish for them. Keep wiggling things around just to stop anything from clumping. Gather everything in the middle and flip them over. Then add another couple of ladles of broth. Moving things around the pan. Just keep adding the broth until everything's all nicely cooked through. Just boiling the kettle in case I need more water than I've got in the pot. I've got about 1 ladle full of the broth left. The noodles are still kind of al dente, a bit harder than I'd like them, so I think I'm going to splash more water in just to cook them a little bit more, and then I can add the last of the broth in. So I'm just going to scatter on a little bit of boiling water. The flavour is very dark and intense. It's quite a strong soy sauce that I use. So I think I'm going to drop in a little bit more mirin. This is mirin. It's like a cooking seasoning. It's made with fermented rice extract, glucose syrup. So it tastes a little bit like wine, but very sweet and sugary. It's quite viscous, like a liqueur, that kind of consistency. If you haven't got the mirin, I'll pop some notes in the pinned comment. I'll have a little bit of looking to see what you can substitute instead. At this stage I'm going to add in the mushrooms. And the last bit of stock. I think that's probably about good to go. The noodles are really soft. There's no kind of stiffness in them anymore. Yeah. The noodles are all cooked and looking sensational. Yum, 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 yum. So they're all lovely and soft. There's no little stiff ones in there. Let's have a go. Normally when you cook noodles, you just do it in water, so they don't have much of a flavour, but that's just sucked up so many wonderful flavours. Yes. Fairly quick as well, I think maybe 15 minutes, something like that, from start to finish. It's a banger. Ooh, the mirin gives it a lovely stickiness, so it's almost like like a bit of like a barbecue sauce. If you've never had teriyaki before, it's that kind of sticky, wonderfully yummy kind of sauce. If you can find it, I'd recommend doing it with light soy sauce rather than a dark, because it is very salty. I mean, it's tasty, it's delicious, but I'm gonna need a beer on the side of that, I think. Yeah, it's just got a lot of punch to it because of the darkness of the soy sauce, whereas a light soy, it's just gonna be lighter, not quite so in your face. But I mean, the texture's just incredible. It's really soft, but slightly chewy. There's a very kind of light coating of sauce on there. And I think what's happening is the starch from the buckwheat is mingling with the liquids and just coating everything really well. The teriyaki makes a really nice sauce for stir fries. So what I do is make up a cornstarch slurry. So get maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of cold water, mix in, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of the cornstarch, get it into a cohesive liquid, and then drop that in a bit at a time as you're stirring it into the hot sauce, and that'll thicken up really nicely. If you want some protein on the side of this, maybe some tofu or tempeh, even some seitan. The washer flour steaks that I made, you could chop some of those down into cubes, maybe fry that off separately, and then add that back in like I've done for the rest of it with the mushrooms. That would be really good. Salad on the side would be really good. I'll pop in some links in the description of the different salads that I've done that will work quite nicely with that. Maybe the pickled carrots that I did. All in all, I'm thrilled with how that worked as an experiment. I'll definitely be doing that again. Might be worth trying it with the vermicelli noodles, you know, like the rice noodles, the very fine ones that you see. Might be worth trying it with those to see if that works as well. Can't see why it wouldn't. Lots of ideas. Hit subscribe and tap the bell icon for more vegan recipes that are ideal for midweek when you're short on time and full of hunger. Then head over to this one.